The only thing I would group about is the very beginning of the Chopin, the motif. Right? How do you think about that beginning? What's going on in your head, or what's the idea you want to tell people?
Like preparing yourself for the big work.
Okay. So you think of it as a preparation.
Like a fuse.
Okay, like a Mission Impossible movie, you like to see. So, what key is the piece in? That's actually a good question. D flat.
Or D flat.
Yeah, it's actually in two keys, right? You end in D flat major, and that's Chopin does that sometimes with the second balada, for example, right? So D flat minor, and the note you play at the beginning, how do you make sense of them?
Well, there's always like some notes that transition between them, but the big notes are like B flat, and F, which is B flat.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, your first, can you play it just so you know what we're talking about? Yeah, so those four notes, it's basically the leading tone, right, going into the kind of triad, right? But then he does it in a very suspicious way. You're like, what the heck is going on? But if you think, okay, this is really D flat minor, but Chopin is, being Scherzo-like, right? Because the composer has a duty, in standard repertoire to tell us what key we're in, right? Either they could delay that path, or they can do it very obviously but gracefully, like Mozart will always do that. He doesn't play around. So in this case, right, we're not sure, but then it's hidden there. You can have that message there, right? Because surface level, you're simply playing them too fast and kind of just rush through them. I don't quite hear enough meaning in them, because everything else is really, really wonderful. So that one, it comes back again and again, and I felt, throughout your performance, I keep trying to be on your side, to try to get what you're arriving at. I just never found their compensation. Yeah, but other than that, everything else. And you developed quite a bit in the last year, which was wonderful. Yeah, okay.
I'll jump in. So I have a similar reaction to the Kabalevsky. I think that I'm most impressed by your ability to play, to keep control when you just drop way down to a very small dynamic level. That's one of the hardest things to do in the piano. Playing loudly and clearly is not as hard as playing softly and clearly. It just isn't. And so you're very strong. That's a very impressive skill set. And I invite you to continue playing repertoire that showcases that skill. That's really remarkable. I agree very much with Dr. Hsu about the opening of the Chopin. For my taste, I'm a little bit older than him, so maybe I'm a little more old-fashioned. I would actually say similar remark to the trio. That I think the trio, some of the great Chopin themes that were written for me are in the trio section, and the A major section, and then going to C sharp minor and incredible scaling passage. And there's not a lot of indication from Chopin in there that scalar theme should fly as fast as possible. In fact, there isn't. But it has become a kind of tradition to do that, and I don't think it's necessary to go that fast. Follow, find something that's a little bit closer to prevailing tempo of the piece. That would be my suggestion to you. That can showcase your ability to control it, right? Because that is more difficult to control that trio and to control the inner themes that are in there, and having a lovely descending tenor line as well in the bass as a complement to what's happening. I think it'd make you maybe stand out a little bit more among your peers who play this piece as someone that's thinking, I guess I can play as fast as I can, but
outstanding. Again, I was with you the whole time. One is I thought something you did really well, with the exception of these opening notes. There is a lot of repeated material in this Scherzo, and I thought as things came back, you had a slightly different vibrato, slightly different voicing, the dynamic that you're playing that, which is really convincing. In general, I noticed more than Chopin, I guess, and some other things I've heard you play elsewhere. You're a very compelling musician. You have exceptional soft control, as we heard in Kabalevsky, some really moving big moments where you project a lot. And I sometimes hear you go from 0 to 60 or vice versa a little too quickly in your dynamics. Okay? I'd like to hear a little bit more variety, a little bit more cantabile in the mezzo piano and mezzo forte range. I think it served you really well. Just to augment what you're already doing so well. In the Kabalevsky, it was really fun performance. If I had to nitpick, which is not what I'm going to do today, I would say there were a couple of rhythmic figures that sometimes